immense success of Barbie last year, Greta Gerwig, who directed the Barbie movie, announced that she was going to be working on a new adaptation of the Chronicles of Narnia book series for Netflix. This
Huh.
raised some eyebrows. Um, so the Chronicles of Narnia books came out back in the late 40s, early 50s. They were written by C.S. Lewis, who is a very close friend of J.R.R. Tolkien, right? Um, they are a fantasy book series more aimed at a YA audience, and even back then they were aimed at a young adult audience. What's interesting about the Chronicles of Narnia is they have some very not some very not well veiled Christianity references. Like they're all over the Chronicles of Narnia. It's all about Jesus, baby. But set in a fantasy world where called Narnia, and Jesus is Aslan, and he's a lion, and there's children and things like that. Anyway, it was a very very popular YA book series. It's been adapted. Portions of it have been adapted twice before. Again, it's 7 books is the entire series. Um, the BBC adapted 4 of the books back in the late 80s, right? Then Walden Media under the Disney, I believe under the Disney umbrella, which is the ones I think you and I were talking about in the pre-show, they did the first 2 or 3 movies. I think they did the first 3 books, right? And then it kind of died, right? And they did those during that whole like everybody's making YA fantasy adaptations period about a decade ago. Um, what brought this up today is Amy Pascal, who's a well-known Hollywood producer. She produced things like all kinds of stuff. She worked with Greta Gerwig on Barbie. She was being interviewed by Deadline, and she's like, "This whole new series is going to be about rock and roll." And everybody looking at the series went, "I'm sorry, what now? You're going to turn the fantasy books that are veiled allusions to Christianity into rock and roll?"
It's a pun. It's funny. Rock roll. Get it? Because you had to roll away the rock to reveal that the tomb was empty. It's another Christianity reference.
There you
It's
go.
not actually rock and roll.
Yeah, something. So Jay, you said you had seen the adaptations that were done by Walden Media, which is the most recent ones, right? From those, did you gather that it's a deep allusion to Christianity?
No, I did not. I did not know that. But I mean, like it makes sense. Like
Aslan
thinking,
sacrifices himself and then he comes back to
and
life.
there you go and you hide in the closet just like you hide in Christianity. It makes sense. It does. But
Uh,
yeah.
um, Here's the thing. This is why I'm intrigued by this project. A couple reasons. So, for those that have watched me for a long, long time, know that when it was announced that Greta Gerwig was doing Barbie, like I eyebrow raised at that. I was like, wait, what? Greta Gerwig is doing the Barbie movie. Okay, this is, and I knew then before, and again, I have the YouTube videos to prove it. I was like, I'm telling you, this is not going to be a normal Barbie movie. Like she's up to something, because she's always up to something, right? This is her style of filmmaking. And then the Barbie movie came out. I was proven correct. Have you saw the Barbie movie?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So having her kind of subversive look at it is interesting to me. Um, Knowing what you do, knowing that Greta Gerwig's directing it, would you at least give the first movie a shot?
Oh, I mean, we always keep going back to this. Like I have the A-lister through AMC. So I will definitely go see the movie. 100% definitely go see it, give it a shot, try it out. Um I'm not a huge fan of musicals though, so
I
like
it's
that's a
that's
little
things. I'm not sure it's gonna be a musical. I'm
yeah.
also not sure how you would turn these into a musical, but okay. So I yeah. Again, everybody's kind of going, what does she mean by this? Like, is that just like a stylistic thing? Like, we're going to modernize them. So to give everybody just a teeny primer, in the order that they were published, the first book that was published was a book called The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it's about these 4 kids during World War II. That live in London. They are sent out of London, as actually was common in England at that time when it was being bombed by the Nazis. They were sent to live with a distant relative who didn't live in the city, way out in the country, right? This old professor guy who lived in this big giant house, right? And that's where they find the wardrobe, which is like the magic portal into Narnia, right? And so they go into Narnia and they have an adventure and they become kings and queens in Narnia as children. And then they come out of the wardrobe after they grow up in Narnia and become adults in Narnia. They go back and, oh, we're kids again, and no time has passed, right? I don't know how you rock and roll up that story.
Yeah, I don't know.
I look, I have all the faith in the world in Greta Gerwig, but
Would it be like VeggieTales, but with like a lion and children?
Okay, and again, without speaking about Greta Gerwig's personal belief systems or anything like that, I would guess that she's not doing this for religious reasons. Just a theory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I again, it really confuses me what she's going to be up to with this because I can't figure it out. Like, and again, so I was given the Narnia books when I was a child, right? When I was probably 9 or 10, right? And I read all the Narnia books because, again, at first blush, for kids, it's just a fun fantasy story about kids who defeat an evil white witch with the help of their magic lion.
Dope.
Right? And then they come back to Narnia and they go on more adventures and they leave and they come back to Narnia and they go, there's lots of adventures. It does get a little weird toward the end, and I don't even know how you adapt a couple of the books because it's like, which is why nobody's ever managed to make it past book 4.
Oh.
Right? Books 5, 6, and 7 have never been adapted. And so I don't know how deep Greta's going to get into this. I don't know if Netflix and Sony and all those guys are planning on trying to do all 7 books. I have no idea, or if they're like, well, we'll do the one, and then, if it's good, we'll do more of them. I don't know. But again, where Amy Pascal's like, oh, it's rock and roll, and I'm like, the children are fleeing the Nazis, and then they do some stuff. I don't get it. Like, what's the idea here? Again, I'm curious. I'll give Greta Gerwig the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe it would be like really dark, like they actually show the bombs dropping.
You know what though? Because
the Sandman comes in, like, damn.
Because the Christians love this so much, I can see this turning into a whole big controversy, depending on how she approaches this one, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Barbie created its own version of controversy when she released that, right? It went on to be wildly successful, right? She made them folks a lot of money. But make no mistake, Greta Gerwig does not make standard run-of-the-mill flicks.
Yeah, I don't. It's just weird. I don't know what to expect from that. But then again, I didn't really understand how you were going to make an entire movie out of Barbie. So there's that.
She did it. She did it. And she did a good job with it. So let us know down in the comments. Throw it in the chat. Yeah, so apparently Greta Gerwig's Narnia adaptation is going to be rock and roll. Which, okay. I have no idea what you're going to do. But now I'm really, really curious to see where Greta goes with this. Let us know in the comments down below what you think.